Rick Harrison stands alone in his History Channel shop, telling America a 200-year-old sword is worth 11 grand. Same shelves, same voice that's narrated 15 years of America's junk drawer. But there's no old man leaning on his cane anymore. No Corey arguing over a motorcycle he overpaid for. Just Rick doing a version of the show that's technically still filming, if you squint. Here's what nobody tells you about Pawn Stars. It didn't die from one scandal. No arrest ended it. No network exec pulled the plug in some dramatic meeting. It just ran out of family.
Hold on, I actually have one of the Care Bears cousins here.
Back in 2009, this show had everything. 3 generations of the same last name, plus a guy nicknamed after a cartoon walrus, all arguing over price tags in a 300 square foot shop. 7 million people tuned in every week. It became the #2 show on cable.
Look, it's your cousins. The Care Bears.
Why aren't they bears?
Bigger that year than American Pickers. Bigger than anything else History Channel had in the pipeline. It got syndicated in 150 countries. Now, in 2026, the show sits on what everyone's calling an indefinite hiatus. Hollywood for, we don't know how to say this is over. One of the 4 original guys is dead. One fled the country. One got arrested with enough guns to open his own pawn shop. And the last one is standing alone in frame, selling swords to nobody. So what actually happened to this family? Because it wasn't one bad decision. It was 20 years of small ones stacking up until nobody was left to stack them. Richard Harrison didn't grow up dreaming about pawn shops.
Chinese fingernail guard.
Oh, you're gonna poke someone's eye out, be careful.
He grew up in Danville, Virginia, joined the Navy at 17, and spent 20 years on ships working his way up to paymaster. He came out the other side with a head for numbers and almost no money. In 1981, he packed up his wife Joanne and their 3 sons.
Plus, maybe I can get some use out of it and convince Rick I shouldn't have to work. I wouldn't want to break a nail.
And drove to Las Vegas with $5,000 to their name. Not $5,000 in savings, $5,000 total. Vegas in the 80s chewed up dreamers like that for breakfast. They opened a buy and sell shop the size of a 2-car garage. For 8 years, Richard fought the city just to get a pawn license, literally tracking the population count himself because the law only allowed 1 license per 50,000 residents. Picture a grown man refreshing census numbers like it's a lottery ticket.
Finger guard. Is it for picking your nose or something?
In 1989, the population finally crossed the line, and the gold and silver pawn shop was born. His son Rick grew up behind that counter. So did Rick's own son Corey, who started working the floor at age 9, which is either a heartwarming family tradition or straight up child labor, depending on who you ask. By adulthood, Corey ran 30 employees and outspent everyone in the building. Add in his childhood friend Austin Russell, nicknamed Chumlee after Tennessee Tuxedo's walrus sidekick from the old cartoon.
That's $500 profit. Just admit that I know what I'm doing.
Because apparently that's a normal nickname to keep into your 30s. And you had 4 guys who weren't hired to be characters. They already were the characters. History Channel just had to point a camera at them and get out of the way. This wasn't a casting call. This was a real family that happened to be interesting enough for television. 3 generations, 1 friend, 1 shop, arguing about guitars and rare coins for a living. Which is exactly why what came next hit so hard. Because when a real family starts falling apart on camera, you can't just write out the character. The character is somebody's father, somebody's son. The first crack didn't come from a Harrison. It came from the guy everyone loved the most.
Check it out!
Stop! Is it loaded?
I don't know. It's a flamethrower, I think.
March 9th, 2016. Police show up at Chumlee's house with a search warrant tied to a sexual assault investigation. He never gets charged for that, but while they're there, they find something else. 12 guns, some registered, some not, including assault rifles he had no legal right to own. Meth, marijuana, digital scales, baggies, the kind of setup that makes a detective write in an actual police report that the volume of drugs suggested someone dealing, not just using. 19 drug charges, 1 felony weapons charge.
Like this.
This is about $4,500.
I'd love for him to shoot it.
The internet's favorite walrus nickname Comic Relief was suddenly facing real prison time. He took a plea deal in May. 3 years probation, counseling, forfeit the guns and drugs, no jail. He kept his job. The show kept airing. But something had shifted. The guy who made you laugh every episode had a police report with his name on it that read like a felony indictment. Chumlee survived it. Corey didn't get off that easy because Corey kept giving the universe more chances to embarrass him. Go back to 2011 and Corey's already getting arrested in a bar fight in California.
I can just imagine how cool this thing is. So how much are you looking to get for it?
I'm hoping to get $2,400.
Shoving a security guard and a deputy before police calmed him down. Fast forward to September 2023, and he's behind the wheel of a white Ford pickup at 2 in the morning, swerving so badly between lanes that police need a loudspeaker just to get him to stop. Bloodshot eyes, slurred explanation, a field sobriety test he apparently failed. The breathalyzer at the jail was broken, so they drew his blood instead. Booked for DUI. His excuse? One drink on a flight hours earlier. This is the same guy who once lost almost 200 pounds on camera, going from 402 pounds down to 210 after lap band surgery, a gastric bypass procedure that Chumlee would later pursue himself.
Who knows? Who cares? It's dope.
Did you have anyone look at it?
I mean, I looked at it.
The two of them sharing that particular before and after arc, like almost everything else in their friendship, telling People magazine he was finally excited to go to the gym. The redemption arc was real.
You really got to just make sure that it's operational, because if it doesn't work, then it's not worth much at all.
And it didn't stop the DUI arrest 12 years later. But none of this is the ugliest fight in the family.
Gone, Silver's went down so much that we made an extra $3,000.
How did you know silver was going to go down?
That one didn't involve police at all. It involved Rick's own mother. In February 2022, 81-year-old Joanne Harrison sued her son, her own son. The lawsuit claims that back in 2000 or 2001, while she was still recovering from a coma in the ICU, Rick had her sign over her 51% ownership stake in the pawn shop. She says she didn't fully understand what she was signing. Her husband, Old Man Richard, told her not to worry about it, that Rick would take care of things. Then Richard died in 2018 from complications related to Parkinson's disease, and Joanne inherited his remaining 49%. According to the lawsuit, she never got a straight answer about where $500,000 in silver and $100,000 in cash disappeared to.
And the first class were nice, padded, comfortable seats, and these don't look padded to me.
She claims Rick was paying her $25,000 a month for living expenses, then quietly cut it to $20,000, then stopped paying her completely in March 2020. No explanation given. Rick's response was blunt. He told the press the allegations were false and that he believed his own 81-year-old mother was being manipulated by people looking to profit off her.
Corkscrews.
So your wife wants you to get rid of some?
Yes, she's had enough of my collection.
Think about that phrase for a second. This is a show that spent 16 years selling America on the idea of Harrison family loyalty. And behind the cameras, the family patriarch's widow was in court accusing her son of cutting her out of everything her husband spent a lifetime building. That's the villain of this story, by the way. Not a person. Time. Time and what it does to families once money and fame get involved. It got Chumlee, it got Corey twice. It got Rick and his own mother. And it wasn't finished. In January 2024, Rick's son, Adam Harrison, was found dead in a guest house in Las Vegas. 39 years old, not a cast member, never appeared on the show a single time. But he grew up in that family, worked at that shop, and spent his 20s cycling in and out of rehab while his father tried everything to pull him out of addiction. The coroner ruled it an accidental overdose, fentanyl mixed with methamphetamine. Rick would later say there's nothing worse than losing a child, that he replays it constantly, wondering if there was something else he could have done. 4 men built this show. By 2024, one of them was dead of natural causes. One had a felony drug and weapons plea deal on his record.
Come into the shop with a collection of corkscrews that Rick really liked.
One had multiple arrests, including a DUI, and one had just buried a son to the same drug crisis he'd publicly warned America about. And somewhere in a Las Vegas courtroom, an 81-year-old woman was still waiting for someone to explain where her silver went. The cameras kept rolling through almost all of it. That's the part that should unsettle you. This wasn't a show that collapsed. It was a show that just kept filming while the family behind it quietly came apart. One lawsuit, one arrest, one funeral at a time. Here's the question worth asking. Other reality shows survive scandals constantly. A cast member gets arrested, the network drops a statement, the show moves on like nothing happened. Storage Wars lost its biggest personality when Dave Hester walked off set and sued the producers for faking fines. The show kept going.
The big mistake eraser.
I'd say about 15 bucks.
Okay.
Antiques Roadshow has cycled through presenters for decades without missing a beat. So why did Pawn Stars actually crumble? because Pawn Stars never had a replaceable cast. That was the entire business model. You weren't watching actors play pawn shop employees. You were watching an actual family run an actual business, 3 generations deep, real blood and real money on the table. Swap out a cast member on The Bachelor and the franchise barely notices because the format was always bigger than any one person crying into a rose ceremony. Pawn Stars never had that safety net. The format was the family, break the show. When Old Man Richard's Parkinson's disease progressed and he stepped back around 2017, the show lost its moral center, the guy whose gruff nod of approval meant something. When he died in 2018, it lost him for good. There's no casting call for new grandfather, no open audition for guy who's seen it all and isn't impressed by any of it. Look at what happened to the 3 men left standing.
Something about wanting to do something for Rick. What do you want to do?
You know me, the generous guy I am.
Yeah, you are.
Chumlee spent the rest of his career with a felony plea deal stapled to his name. Forever the guy who almost went to prison over what police suspected was a drug operation. Not exactly the vibe you want next to your comic relief. Corey piled up legal trouble on legal trouble, eventually admitting on the record he was tired of playing a character at 41 that the show still wanted acting 23. And Rick, the one holding it together on camera, was privately locked in a courtroom fight with his own mother while burying a son. Nobody here got fired. They got outpaced. Real life moved faster than a reality show could edit around it. Corey didn't quit the show. He quit performing a version of himself that stopped being true the moment his world fell apart. The shop's still standing on Las Vegas Boulevard. Tourists still walk in, hoping for a glimpse of somebody famous.
Okay. And don't call Corey either, because no one blows a surprise faster than him. He can't keep his mouth shut.
All right, bud.
All right, thank you.
But the family that made it worth watching scattered in 4 directions, and no amount of good lighting was ever going to fix that. For a long time, this show sold America something real. Not strangers competing for a rose, not a fake tribal council on a beach. A genuine family business, 3 generations under one roof, arguing about a Civil War rifle the way real families argue about everything. That authenticity is exactly why 7 million people showed up every week. It's also exactly why it couldn't survive what came next. You can't script your way out of a father's Parkinson's disease. You can't edit around a felony weapons charge. You can't cut away from a courtroom where a son stands accused of cutting his own mother, Joanne, out of her inheritance. And you definitely can't keep the cameras rolling through the death of a child, Adam Harrison, 39 years old, and call it entertainment. So the fantasy held for almost a decade. Then reality did what reality always does. It stopped waiting for a good take.
On toy of all time. This car does everything but get you the girl.
And give me the girl.
Here's where they landed in 2026. Old Man Harrison, gone since 2018. Chumlee, carrying a felony plea, deal for life, still working the counter like nothing happened. Corey living in Tulum, building a barbecue restaurant, done pretending to be a younger version of himself on camera. And Rick, still in that same shop, still grieving a son, still tangled in a lawsuit with his own mother nobody's ever gotten a straight answer about. 4 guys build an empire out of honesty. In the end, that same honesty is what tore it apart. The shop's still there. The family that made you care in the first place scattered years ago. What's left is just the building they used to fill.